Hey, Helen, it's so nice to meet you. I'm Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
I'm stoked that we're getting to see Kennedy Drive. I know we had a chat on the phone. So I know this is the first time that you're seeing a house in person. So come in.
Okay.
Open as you go through. I'd love for you to ask questions. I will answer whatever I can. My job is to totally be a resource. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So I typically like to start at the bottom and work my way up or from the front door. So start down here. Sound good? And then we'll go to the
let's do it.
So coming in, obviously there's one parking spot in the garage, one parking spot outside the garage, and then there's guest parking across the way. So it seems like it's pretty accessible.
Wow, so we get 2 spaces?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so typically, since the unit is vacant, the sellers removed everything that they are planning to leave behind at this point. So we can get a good feel for kind of what's going on. It's nice that it's not finished because we're able to actually see a bit about the foundation and what's going on around us. Every so often, folks, if they need like a home office or something, I've seen folks finish this space and to make it a little bit nicer. Never going to be a space that you're going to spend a ton of time in, but if you needed storage space or, you know, a little space to escape the noise going on upstairs, this certainly becomes a possibility.
My weak point, just so you know, as we look at homes, is heating systems.
Yep.
I'm really going to rely on you to kind of help me with that, and I'll learn as it goes.
Totally. Well, that's part of my job. Kind of what we can tell looking at over here, right? So furnace is right there, hot water heater is right there. We can tell that both of them are fairly new. So we can see that they've recently replaced the furnace. They've actually re-insulated the ductwork at the very basics there as well. In terms of the age of the hot water heater, we'll have to pull the disclosure. I'll have to ask a few questions.
Sure.
But we can tell looking at it that it's actually been recently replaced. It's actually relatively clean and in good condition on that part. And we can see that they have new copper piping right up above. You know, they probably pulled permits. We can get all of that information from Town Hall if it's something that you're super serious in.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sound good?
Yeah.
So some of the other small things that I like to point out, especially for first-time buyers, right? When we're looking at foundations, we can tell it's a poured concrete foundation. It's very indicative of the age that the condo was built. The sheetrock on the ceiling just makes things look neat and serves as a little bit of a fire barrier because the furnace is down here. But you can tell that they've got insulation. Any other questions while we're down here?
No. This is great. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. In terms of like storage space, like this is going to be the bulk of your storage space for the entire unit. How's this feel?
It's totally fine. I mean, actually, it continues underneath the stairs. For me, it's just seasonal stuff.
Okay.
Christmas decorations.
So garage door openers there. This is always, I was folks, this is the kind of guts. It's usually the internet and that kind of stuff. Super specific, but nothing super major over there. Looks messy, but sure it's operational.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to head on upstairs. If you want to go on up. There's a front door, though I don't think you'd ever really use it, right? You've got mostly coming in and out through the garage, and most of your guests would probably come in and out through that way as well. So nice that there's a space that's not carpeted when you come in, and then you get to come up here to the carpet. So living space, windows are vinyl, right? So they're newer, they're double pane.
Yeah,
they're probably not newer in that they've been replaced, but they're not like windows from like the 1970s. I did notice that there is a broken seal. It's really just kind of cosmetic. I always tell folks, still functions as a window, right?
Okay.
It's still open and close.
How did you see that broken seal?
So one of the cues I've always looked for is this fogging in between the panes of glass.
Makes sense.
So it tells us that there's a little bit of an air leak in there.
Okay.
If it bothered you, you can replace the panes of glass, probably $70 to $200 to do it.
Okay.
Not super expensive and nothing that's going to impact the usability of the window. Small little closet right there if it's something that interests you for whatever storage, maybe on the back side of the kitchen, a coat closet, I guess, for guests coming in, or maybe just toss some brooms in there.
Maybe, yeah.
How's the living room feel?
One jacket.
Space-wise.
It's a little small.
Okay.
It's a little small. I feel a little cramped.
It's always tough when spaces are vacant, Helen, because it's tough to get a feel for the scale and being able to understand like how you could put your furniture in here.
Sure.
But I can understand that. One of the things that I'd love to point out is that there's no lights on in this room. So all of the lighting that's in here is natural light. So that's actually a pretty good bonus. So coming on over into the kitchen, certainly feel free to open the cabinets. Feel free to open the fridge, test the water if that's something that you're interested in. With condos, inspections are a little bit tricky. It's not a ton to inspect because the exterior, the roof, the siding, all of that kind of stuff is owned by the association. So really the big stuff that's left would be things like the heating system, which we know is newer, and then kind of looking at the plumbing. Run the plumbing, make sure there's no leaks under the sink. That kind of stuff. Dishwashers there. Definitely not newer appliances, but how do you feel about the kitchen? What's your thoughts? What's your gut reaction?
I would like to just do a couple of upgrades, but nothing serious.
Space-wise feels okay?
Yeah.
Enough counter space?
Definitely.
And how do you like the flow of where the kitchen is in relation to the rest of the home?
I think it's central. I mean, I think that's just good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it works.
So prying back over here is the dining area. Again, lots of natural light. I turned down the light, but you can kind of see the windows.
What a difference! I think it's the carpet. Do we
Julie,
know if there's if what's under it?
So I don't know for sure, but if I'm a betting woman, no. Based on the age of construction, if there was hardwood, we'd probably see it. If the home was built in like the 50s, then we might say there might be some really neat hardwoods buried under there.
Right.
So based on
I
when
have
this was
seen that.
built, and based on the condition of the carpet, I'd say don't assume there's anything other than some floor underneath there. Half bath, kind of tucked off of there. I definitely want to replace the floor at some point. It looks like they just layered one on.
Okay.
But totally functional half bath for guests. Thoughts at this point?
I like this room the best so far.
All right. What is it that you like the best? Is it?
I think it's the hardwood.
Okay.
I think it's the flooring that's making all the difference in the world. I felt strongly about this unit. I'm just putting some hardwood floors.
Okay, well, it's good to know. I always like to kind of ask, like, what are the things that you like and what are you drawn to? Because it's going to help me as we start to kind of search through stuff to be able to find things that are going to be similar.
Absolutely. Carpet, not a fan.
Okay, awesome. Well, why don't we head on upstairs and I'll take a look at the bedrooms.
I wasn't expecting the room to be this large.
Okay, that's a huge bonus.
Yeah, no, this is great. Still, love the windows. I love the paned windows.
Full bath in the hallway, so both bedrooms get to share a bathroom.
Everything's at work.
How do you feel about the space?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty normal, I think, for, this size condo.
Linen closet in the hallway.
Very helpful. All right.
So that's it. Kind of condos are what they are. What are your thoughts? What are the things that you loved? What do you hate?
The things I loved is that it's an end unit.
Okay.
It seems to give a little more space.
Okay.
Outdoor space.
Yep. Is that outdoor space important to you?
Yes.
Okay. That's really good to know.
Any added space outdoors would be really helpful.
Okay.
I like that it's all fenced in. I think the second level gave it a lot more promise.
Okay.
The first level, I felt a little cramped because of the layout.
Feedback.
Because of the layout.
Yeah, and that's super important, Helen, because as we start to work together now, right? Like I'm super excited to work with you and move forward. But it's also really great feedback because one of the things that it'll enable us to do is when we're looking at things, just because it says that it's 1,000, 1,100 square feet, it's really important to recognize that not all 1,000 or 1,100 square feet properties are created equally.
That's a great point, Lisa, because that's exactly what I was doing is just kind of looking at square footage.
Right.
And then the pictures really don't say, so.
Yep. No, that's why I'm always going to kind of encourage you. If it looks like on paper, it might be a fit. And even if there's some stuff that's slightly off, maybe it's worth kind of looking at it and investigating it just a little bit deeper because you never know until you actually walk in it. And I found over the years of doing this that some people hire amazing photographers and you get in and you're like, how did they make that happen? And then other people hire photographers that just kind of miss the mark, and you're like, oh my gosh, it was a hidden gem.
I think what I'll do too, Lisa, is kind of email you those things so that you have them.
Yep.
But not only that, I have a small dog, and it's very important to me. And I made about condo docs and documents and things like that. I know there's restrictions.
Totally. How big is your dog?
Overweight, 26 pounds, but he's a little guy.
Okay, but he's under 30, so most condos aren't going to be an issue as long as they allow pets.
Yeah, as long as they allow pets.
Okay.
And I know when I'm looking at the properties and so forth, does it always say that?
So that's where I kind of come into play and kind of will do some work ahead of time just to make sure, knowing that you have that dog, will kind of be in pet-friendly associations. I think one of the other things that I'm always cognizant of when I'm talking to folks who are thinking about buying condos is, how long do you think you're going to be here? Is this a temporary stop? Is it something where you'd want to know that you could split to sell it when you're out? Is it something where you want the potential to be able to keep it and rent it?
Yeah. What I'm planning on is, this is pretty much just getting into the game, right?
Okay.
Everybody talks about real estate, and this is something that I'll be comfortable affordability-wise.
Yep.
But would like to build some equity and then see where I'm at that point, whether to sell or rent it out.
Okay.
You know, if I stay in the area, great. I would love to be a landlord, but I don't know if I'll be in the area.
Would it be important for you that the condo allow rentals so that that becomes an option later on down the road?
Didn't even think of that. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. That's just good to know. It's like those little things that as we start kind of you and I working together and we understanding what your goals are, not just today, but 5 years from now. Because like you mentioned, real estate is going to be one of your biggest assets, right? And so our job is to understand not just how it works for your lifestyle today, but how does it work for your lifestyle 5 years from now? And does it actually help you move towards those goals long term? Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And the other thing too is, I didn't even think of it until just now, was I'd rather be, if we're going to move forward with a townhouse or a condo, not into like 100 units, like smaller units.
Okay. What is it that's important to you? Is it just the
condo fee?
Okay.
I find that when I was viewing, that I would see condo fees go up quite more because of all the units, all the landscaping, all the snow removal, all this, all that.
Okay.
And they could get up into like the 8s and the 9s.
Well, so then it sounds like, if I'm hearing you right, the issue isn't necessarily the size of the complex, it's really the HOA fee.
Yeah.
Okay. If we had a larger complex with a lower HOA fee, it's not necessarily a deal breaker?
No.
All right. That's great feedback. Well, I think that, that kind of wraps up this.
Okay.
Are there any other questions that I can answer, whether it's about the process or about, what it's like to work together on a move forward?
No, I'm really happy, and I'm glad we met because you've answered all my questions like rapid fire already. I feel confident that we'll find the right house.
All right, awesome. Well, what I'd love to do now that I've got a little bit better sense, I'm going to get back to my desk. I'm going to send you over a few more options to take a look at. I always love to ask buyers, can you keep maybe every Saturday morning open for me from like, say, 10 to noon will be you and I. And that way, on a move forward, I'll know that whenever I see something that jumps out at me, I'll say, hey, Helen's my girl, Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. And if there's ever a Saturday that doesn't work, just shoot me a text and we'll find an alternate time.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, Saturdays are great.
Perfect. I'll bring coffees next time. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
And then I walk her down.